Hey, hey, good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is, wherever you be, whenever you be, but you be, we be, we are. Uh, so I haven't shared too much light language, light codes, tones, um, a lot of different ways to frame it, words, whatever you want to call it. Um, I think the essence of it and what it seems to do and point towards and allow is more important. I think it's, we got some videos where I talk about it, but there's certain tones and vibrations that can help to restructure, reorient certain aspects of the self, whether it's the subtle bodies, energy bodies, cellular DNA type structuring imprints, back to a more, you could say, organic, whole, complete, remembered full template. Yeah, that's the gist of it. And it has that process to kind of allow whatever is not of that vibration to kind of be brought forth, to bubble up, to so this is why it can really bring out one of two things in a certain way. And I've went through this in my own experience with certain tones and people speaking it. It can be either you tap into that peaceful, blissful field immediately with that, or it can bring up that what's not of that, kind of kicking up that sediment in there. And I think I talk about that more so, the correlations with water and the kind of geometric patterning and structuring of that template, and how they show, what is it, cymatics, where it you see the structuring of water with certain frequencies in that, and how certain frequencies are more beatific and symmetrical and so forth in that. And so you can think about it, as correlating with that as well, and having that. But anywho, so yeah, but it can kick up. Kind of what's lodged within you that isn't a part of that patterning, and it can bring that denser, more constricted, gridlocked energies within aspects of the physical body and the energy body. And I would say there's really no need to go into the differentiation between that, because like you can always tune in, and I believe this is very important, to be able to tune in, to come back into the actual body and not get caught up in those more transcendent bodies and ignore the physical body. So, a lot of folks do that. A lot of folks, the non-dual crowd and stuff, they want to get into, I'm not a body. There's no body. There's no, whatever. But there still seems to be, if there still seems to be something that has the capacity to come back to that referential state, that if you're there, there's a body there, whether the identification's there with it or not, is not important in that way. I would say it in that way it is important, because there's something, if there's a stubborn denial and clinging to this non-identification and this dismissal attitude, then there's something going on there. But I'm not really trying to go down that, call that out in this video and go down that tangent. So anyhow, what is important is being able to go back in and utilize that vessel. This is a vessel. Course in Miracles talks about this. This is the body's purpose. The body's purpose is for communication, right? So we like to think about that in a limited aspect, a limited term of communication, a limited way of communicating through speaking, through, vocalizing in that way. And yes, that is obviously, even with these tones and stuff that I'm talking about, you are going, they're speaking, that's happening. But how are we communicated to, and how does the body communicate in other various ways? Well, you have the senses, and that this is, this means of communication on that level, and this energetic, emotional communication that's taking place within is very important. There's a lot being attempted to be communicated there. And at no point throughout this experience in this density, this dimensional presentation, is dismissing that or ignoring that going to be to our benefit in a rigid, absolute way. Now, of course, this type of dismissal and denial has its place when there's something that's attempted to get us caught up and kind of in the extremity, over concerned and consumed with it. That's, there's a thin line there. So that does very much have its place, that dismissive denial. Of course, Miracles talks about that, the proper use for denial. But then there is that proper use for bringing that into our awareness, for going into that and being willing to look upon that, to not fear the presentation of that fear and that constriction, to allow that to be seen, to be witnessed, to be held, for forgiveness, for giving back to the Spirit, for purification. This is, what's really true transmutation and forgiveness in that way. So it is a great opportunity, and it's our responsibility, because nobody's like coming into your body and doing this for you. Nobody's doing that. Like, you have to take responsibility for you on the level of mind, and the level of mind that encompasses everything, even the physicality. All is mind, right? So we're coming back in to the body through the mind, through our awareness, and acknowledging that. So, kind of went off on a little tangent there, but that's not really, because that's important for what's being brought up, what's attempted to be communicated, right? So not only do we do the communication, we are being communicated to. That is, that teach learning, that nature of being in communication with the Spirit. It's simultaneous. It's both ways. It's not just coming down. It's going up. It's that one. It's connection to all things at all times. So don't limit it. Don't limit your capacity for communication, for being communed with. All right. So I know that's gonna resonate and make sense to who it needs to resonate with and make sense to. If it didn't or doesn't, you probably didn't make it this far in this video. So, with that being said, let's see. I don't know what's gonna come through, because I was just kind of going on a good little rant there and flowing with it. Actually, this is really nice. I've never done a video from this room. I don't even have this room really set up. I'm in a chair with my little stand, but I like it. It's got some of the best natural light. It's cool. So, anywho, tune in and see what's brought forth here. Breath can be very helpful with this. I'm just going to start with saying that. Very helpful. Focusing on the body and coming into the body, using that to come back in to the body, to go deep into wherever this energy you know, that somatic release that's coming up, that cellular purging, you know, that communication, right? So, Ea te ashe, ekatea nea, ea shatea, ekatea nea, shatea etea, ea. Uteane, shatea eteae, katea shatea kate, katea ea, katea eteae, shatea neteane, uteae, shatea ete, ea. Shatea eteae, ekateane ate, uteane ate, shatea ete, ea. Nea tea, shotea etea he, heya. Shatea yete aye, heya. Uneate, ashetea etea, utenaye, uete aye, shatea ete aye. Eshatea nea tea oketea shatea ea. So if you're not used to this type of work, this type of like somatic release, there can be stuff that wants to be expressed through the body as you're going in and holding these things. You know, the body wants to move. It can, you know, if you're laying down or in a, you know, meditative position, there can be lots of, you know, energetic movement, and that's fine. I would say, you know, obviously you're not trying to bring that about, but you're not trying to resist that if that's there. So there can be a lot of release that happens through releasing that resistance of those movements. And it can be very beneficial for me. I know at certain times, like the body has to be in different positions. Like I'm more relaxed if I'm laying down in a certain way. I can go in more, and the body's more relaxed. So that's always a case-by-case basis. But again, you just have to do with what's comfortable for you. This is where like certain limited systems can be beneficial, but yet also like a handicap in a certain way, because you can, if the spiritual ego gets a hold of it and it wants to cling towards this is what it's supposed to look like, then you're automatically like shutting yourself off from anything else, anything that's coming up. And then as you know, that's trying to come through in a certain way, that resistance is really gridlocked. So you just really have to be authentic and honest with yourself of what's going on there. So again, it's case by case basis. You may have like in a certain way, you know, this is, you know, system and a rigidity may be appropriate, and then in another day and case it may not. So you got to be willing to be honest and honest and accountable to yourself there with what's going on. All right. Let's see. And as always, you know, this is never like about this. Like this is something that came through here spontaneously. I find it's more for me, right? I can tune in through this languaging that releases there, that kind of tapping in and filtering out certain aspects of the energetic fields that have like this constriction and density to them. They're dismissed. They can't really hold up in that environment in that way. So it's never about trying to mimic, copy, bring this forward. It may or may not happen. It may or may not be beneficial to you. But if it does, learn to trust it, because there can be a tremendous amount of resistance there with like, oh, what is this? And there's certainly information and tones there that come forth that may be coming from certain places at times that may not be what they seem, or may have some doubt and healing behind them. I mean, I've had certain tones that sound not so nice. Like you got Harry Potter. What is it? They call it like parcel tongue. There's like a very serpentine flow that it's like, okay. And then I've had some that's like real throaty, and it's like, what is this? Is this friggin' black speech of like Mordor, that type of flow? And it's like, okay, no. And there's certain teachings and understandings out there where there are certain tones and vocalizations that come from certain realms and dimensions that may not be the most positive, but this all serves, all can serve in that way. That's why I don't necessarily share everything unless it's guided in a certain way. I'm not like just trying to bring this about and throw this out there, because as I said, certain things, everything's not for everyone at the same time. And this can bring out certain energies that people may have tremendous amount of resistance to, may have like a tremendous amount of dedication to keeping repressed and suppressed and not brought up, they're not ready, or they don't want, there's a tremendous stubborn egoic resistance to allowing this type of content that it's going to kind of expose and free up to be healed and forgiven in your experience. There's so much resistance to kind of keeping that out of sight. Out of sight is not out of mind. It's never, because if it's there, and like, this is very important too. I like the knowingness. I'm not doing anything to you. I'm not bringing anything up for you. Like, I'm not putting anything there. I mean, you can try to give me that power, but I don't. I don't have that power for you. The responsibility is in your own mind. What you choose to do with that is your business. That is your responsibility. This is a learning opportunity. I'm not teaching you anything. I'm learning as I'm that giving is shared. I'm giving to myself. We're both here joined in the equality, the equanimity of that. Whether that's seen or realized at the time is not important. That's always the case. That's all relationships are for. For turning those special relationships into those holy relationships where that communication is all that is. Joined in that communion. One with the Spirit. So it's a beautiful day. Quite frankly, I got to take a piss, so I'm cutting this video short. I don't know that it's short. I feel like it's done. That was a very brief expression of that, but I feel like there was a lot more covered and shared that could be very beneficial. So I love you. Glad to sharing this with you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing. And I'll see you later. Peace and love, y'all. Bye.